Taking 100% responsibility. I also call it taking ownership. I do believe this is a value that we can teach people, and I'll tell you why. They have done experiments, and let's say somebody pretends to be dead or having a heart attack. And usually when there's a single person in the room, usually that single person jumps up and does stuff. But sometimes when there are 50 people in the room, then usually they find nobody does anything. Because the thinking is, it's not my fault problem, it's somebody else's problem. So it's usually humans have this tendency. So one way to deal with this issue, as a manager is make one person responsible. Make sure he or she understands in no uncertain terms who's responsible for what. On the other hand, there are some people who I have noticed, they always give excuses. Maybe it's, decades of conditioning. And I do find this to be an issue, especially in third world countries, where I come from. In a kind of a stunted environment, people are born to believe that nobody is responsible for anything, so who cares? Like, for example, you would be a contractor taking care of roads, and most contractors, skim the money off of the roads, and no wonder the roads have potholes. Or you might be walking down the street and there'll be a dead dog, but it's not my problem. I think it has some cultural baggages. Maybe it's the legacy of where these civilizations came from, or the fact that people there are not educated as much as the people in the Western world. Whatever it is, I think we can change it. I think we can make people take responsibility. So I do believe this is something we can address. And if you do find somebody who just eternally gives excuses, there are few people who just always gives excuses. Never their fault, it's somebody else's fault. Unfortunately, if somebody is one of those extreme cases, I have tried to change them, but usually I haven't been able to. But there are some people, who are kind of in the borderline, who I have been able to change. So now, is this something you screen for? I absolutely think you must, especially in the trial phase. If somebody, even in that phase, gives you excuse after excuse after excuse, I strongly recommend not to go through with the hire, because their actions, even in that phase, will tell you how they're going to act once they do become a full-time hire. This is a very important value, taking 100% responsibility. So if you are a staff member, please learn it. That's what we expect from everybody. We do not expect excuses. We do not expect you to point the finger at somebody. We expect you to stand up and say, I'm sorry I messed up, if you do mess up.